Francesco Rizzuto joins us. He's the Dean and Head of the School of Law at Liverpool Hope University. Francesco, welcome to the programme. Let's just start for the benefit of the viewers regarding the UN ethos of the Refugee Convention. It says there should be burden sharing. And then you have the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which provides for the right to seek and receive asylum from persecution in other countries. Then there's the 1951 UN Convention relating to the status of refugees. It prohibits the imposition of any penalty upon a refugee merely by reason of their having entered a country without permission. So, is the British government's proposed legislation going against all of these declarations?
Yes. That's the blunt answer, yes. And by the way, how can you push the boundaries of international law? To what? An absurd strapline. And I'm not trying to minimize the problem here, but there's no doubt that this is a political decision to try and increase the deterrence factor, if you like. The Rwanda policy didn't work. By the way, the Rwanda policy is on hold for a very simple reason, that the UK courts have to decide whether Rwanda is a safe country. So it's important not to lose sight of that. But it's clear that Rwanda and the Rwanda policy has not been implemented. It can't be implemented. I doubt very much whether it will be implemented. But of course, with 40,000 migrants crossing the channel over the last 12 months or so, there is pressure in the United Kingdom from certain sections of the Conservative Party to do something about it. So legally, quite frankly, this policy would trash our obligations under the European Convention on Human Rights. It would more or less distort and provide an interpretation of Article 33 of the Refugee Convention, let alone the Declaration of Human Rights, the UN Declaration. So this isn't just about pushing back the boundaries. This is basically putting them in a basket and locking them away. And that's the reality of it here. I'm sorry if I seem a little bit off. And then the principle, by the way, of retroactive application. This breaches the principle of legality, by the way. And by the way, the provisions that are going to be in this bill over arresting, deporting, locking up people and then sending them away, clearly is, if you like, falls under the category of a criminal penalty, and you can't basically convict people of a crime before the law is in place. The law is not in place. So again, that is what astonishes me, is that there are lawyers in the Conservative Party who are prepared to turn a blind eye to this kind of thing by acknowledging the problem, but they don't want to undermine the policy or the government. There's a lot of political capital hanging on this because, of course, it's one of the 5 priorities that the Prime Minister established as his priorities, that he will be judged on this. Very, very, frankly, extreme way of trying to deal with the problem.
Yeah, in the UK, critics of the government say it's simply a way of delivering political red meat to the right wing of the Conservative Party. But you have just listed a whole series of legal issues with this whole idea. So let's go to the morality of it. And the numbers in terms of the details of why people come to the UK, it takes quite a long time to compile those numbers. I mean, the numbers you've quoted about how many tens of thousands have arrived, that's pretty obvious, but their motivation is the thing that we need to know. Okay, so about 18 months ago, the Home Office, the Interior Ministry's own figures showed that 61% of people arriving in the UK on small boats actually had a good reason to come to seek asylum or be classified as being a refugee. And therefore, if they had good cause to come to the UK for that reason, the morality of the issue here has become the UK making a decision on refugee status or asylum, not based on the actual merit of a case, but on the method of a person's arrival.
Absolutely. And now, of course, that begs the question, other than the Ukraine route, i.e. for the Ukrainian refugees, or the partially functioning Afghanistan route through, the truth of the matter is that there are very limited legal ways of refugees, asylum seekers, and let's not forget economic migrants getting into the United Kingdom. So in a sense, the UK has decided to shut up shop, to put up the barriers, regardless of the status of those who want to come through. And that is a challenge, because one has to distinguish between economic migrants and refugees who are escaping persecution and so on. And that's one of the challenges. But the British solution is to basically say, you come in a small boat, you're out. That's it. But where are they going to go to? Rwanda? I doubt very much that anybody else will willingly take back these people who clearly want to go into the United Kingdom. And we know some of the reasons why they want to go there. It's a question of language, it's a question of culture, it's a question of family. There are all sorts of reasons. So I really think that outsourcing, it's not even outsourcing anymore because that route has been closed, but simply putting up barriers and saying, you arrive here, we're going to lock you up and then send you away, we don't quite know where to, is frankly just making policy by strapline, outrageous strapline, frankly.
Francesco, we're running out of time. It's always the case. But I just want to return to a point you made earlier. You said you didn't want to minimize the challenge or make light of the challenge of migration. So I'll do it for you. I'll just give you a few numbers. And these are estimates, okay? In the UK, between 800,000 and 1.2 million people are living there without proper documentation. In France, the lower estimate is about 315,000. Okay, let's even triple that, more than 1 million. In Italy, 700,000. The populations of those countries are UK 67 million, France 67 million, Italy 59 million. Do you think other European countries are going to look at the UK and say, if they can do it, we can do it too? And are they all exaggerating?
I think that there is a danger, but contrast the reaction in Italy. We talk about Italy. 70 people plus drowned the other day. What was the reaction of even a far-right Italian government, supposedly? The reaction in Italy has been completely different. And Italy, Greece, Spain have really had to take the brunt of these mass migrations, we've got to call them that, of populations. The reaction has been completely different. I doubt very much whether France, Germany, Italy, or anybody else in Southern Europe is going to change. Remember, in Eastern Europe, the reaction has been British-like. Remember, other than the Ukrainians, what the Polish reaction has been over burden sharing, or the Hungarian reaction. So, if you like, there are some people in Europe who are already playing hard and fast with their international obligations within the context of Europe. This is a major problem. It can only be dealt with by looking at the sources of the problem and actually dealing with it collectively within the context of Europe. And that really is the only way. We have to acknowledge that we're not going to deter misery and fear. We're simply not going to deter people who feel that way. And anybody who seriously believes that is going to work are just not living in the world that most of us live in and view around us. Human misery is a great push factor, and we must never forget that.
Francesco, thank you so much indeed for the analysis. Very much appreciated. Francesco Rizzuto.